Alright everybody, I was just falsely informed that I had a package down here, so now that I'm down here we may as well shoot a little yard tour video. As we walk our way back up the driveway, we'll have a little stroll around the yard and look at all the flowers while they're in bloom. I shot a video not too long ago and I was saying how the yard was very far from being in full color, and as pretty as it looked back then, it really was a long way away from being in full color. And now we've got our Rose of Sharon's here blooming and our Hostas are blooming, so that's going to make a big difference. Just as you walk along, you'll see the flowers. We have the purple and white and pink Rose of Sharon's. Now they don't get a ton of sun, so they're a little more spindly and sparse than if they were out in full sun all day, but they're beautiful nonetheless. Our Hostas, I'm sad to say, are a little past their prime. We've had some rainy, chilly weather here the last few days, and unfortunately I was not able to get out and get any better video. Now that I can get out here, everything's sort of, winding down, or at least the hostas are winding down. So I'm not going to try to point out the name of each individual flower. We're just going to have a little walk around. This is a butterfly bush. Was out here earlier and there was actually a hummingbird moth on it. It's a moth that looks and behaves exactly like a hummingbird. It's even diurnal, meaning it comes out during the day, which is unusual for moths. This of course is just a butterfly. I have no idea what kind, but it's just a butterfly. So our tiger lilies here have not yet bloomed. If you'll look around as we walk, you'll notice a lot of hanging pots and planters. My wife puts those together and she usually does a really good job. And you can see we got the hostas blooming here and there. These are all the, what I think of as sort of roadside orange daylilies. They're already gone. We need to get out here and deadhead all that. Another one of my wife's planters. These are some really beautiful daylilies down here. Those are slightly different. Another flower you're going to see a lot of is our purple coneflower here. Those are blooming and they give us a lot of color. We've got phlox starting to bloom. There's another one of our planters. And then this is a gorgeous hydrangea with a really rich purple flower on it. It's really unusual looking. I love it. And then of course that's another beautiful daylily. The balloon flowers back there are in bloom. This is a different species of black-eyed Susan, or rudbeckia if you prefer, and we just got that this year, and we're hoping it seeds the way normal black-eyed Susan does, because we have that everywhere. That's the Maryland state flower. I don't know the name of this cultivar, but it's a beautiful version of it, so we're really hoping we can propagate that and spread that around the yard too. These are impatiens, but they go by a bunch of different common names, and I cannot even for the life of me think of what they go by very commonly, but they get a little sort of football shaped pod on it. When you squeeze them or it drops, it pops and it throws the seeds everywhere. So it is an annual, but it's a reseeding annual, and we've got both like a purpley color and sort of a magenta color of these, and we've got them kind of confined to this area this year. We've gotten a little crazy with them in the past, so this year we've got them sort of packed into one area and we're going to leave them there for now. This is actually several different planters right here, and of course we're out here in the midday sun when everything's starting to wilt a little bit. This is our first tiger lily that's blooming, and I had to tie them all back, which is why they're all smashed up. I wish I'd done that earlier, so they would have sort of adapted and grown upright and spread out a little bit. So I don't know how well they're going to bloom at this point. You've got them sort of tucked behind each other, so we'll see. Still have caladiums we haven't even gotten in the ground despite it being mid-July. We've got coral bell that has not made it into the ground yet. This is our sidewalk hollyhock. It just comes up every year in the crack in the sidewalk, and we just let it do its thing because it's not in our way. And then of course these are just more potted plants. A lot of this stuff is indoor stuff that'll have to go back in over the winter. And then this is catnip. This is a new bleeding heart vine we got recently that is not hardy for our zone, so it's going to have to go inside over the winter as well. And then this is my wife's Lady in Red salvia, and if you've just got an old wheelbarrow that's got cracks in the bottom and leaks water, you can throw some soil in it and you've got yourself a nice mobile planter that you can move around from place to place. So here's tons more coneflower or echinacea. Here's another planter, some creeping jenny, coleus. Here's a phlox hiding in amongst the coneflower. We have another dark purple butterfly bush back there that's just getting going. As usual, I always say it, we just don't get a lot of sun back here, and we just, you know, everything's sort of sparse and spindly except for our shade plants. These are nice, beautiful purple phlox too. I like those a lot. More planters. This is a really pretty double daylily right here. That's an unusual one. Most of our daylilies have come and gone, and now we're getting into the midsummer stuff. You can see this bright red right here is bee balm. Let's see, we'll see some more bee balm if I can make it across here without killing myself. This bright red in here, this is all bee balm. This is all overflow from all of this stuff. You can see the line of rocks comes down. This line of rocks is where the actual bed goes, and these have all just sort of worked their way and spread down the yard. So now I just kind of mow around them, and gradually we're getting creep. So you can see these are hostas. I've got hostas down here, and they come, you know, all the way down the yard. I've got ground cover growing down here. These are hostas. All these little chopped off things, these are all hostas. So I would actually just, the whole hill would just be covered if we didn't come through here and mow all of the hostas. And then of course we've got a lot of very soft carpet like moss because we get very little sunlight. So we're going to walk around this bed and then cut across the top of the hill. My wife's been working on getting this bed filled in with hosta this year, just so it's not this big bare patch, and it'll be nice and green and lush, hopefully within a season or two. More hosta. Again, we're not going to go for the super detailed walk around the yard today. This is my former fern garden. We spent a couple of years really making that into a nice garden with paths and a couple of benches back there and little stone walkways, and then, you know, just got on top of us and never got around to keeping up on top of it, and now it just sort of looks overgrown and back to nature again. And you can see some big hostas still sort of buried back there. So looking down on this garden looks completely different. We have more Rosa Sharons blooming up here. You get a better look at these bee balm, and of course this hydrangea down here is absolutely beautiful. This all used to be usable yard. Back there used to be usable yard, but the bamboo got on top of us, and so the bamboo is just eating up space back there. But as I said before, it's okay. You can see what I mean about the huge patches of mossy fern. All sorts of little cool mushrooms and stuff coming up. So this is all gooseneck loosestrife, and it's definitely passing its prime. That was really just full white a few days ago, and it is no longer the case. So we'll take one stroll through this bed, or this garden I should say, and that'll be pretty much the end of the tour. This is mostly just weeds and stuff. I need to get up here and clear this out. If you watched my last yard tour, I complained about these bleeding hearts and how they die back really early in the season, and you can see they're already yellowing. Not long from now they're just going to be huge gaping holes, and we're just going to have these dead spots in the garden because these bleeding hearts have died back. there's not a lot we can do about it. So I think we're going to pull probably this big one out. The tuber mass is probably about that big in there. It's huge. It's going to take a lot of work to get it out, but I think we might do that. And you can see little babies from it come up everywhere. Again, that's another prolific reseeder. We get that everywhere. Same basic stuff, just different varieties of ferns, Astilbes, Hostas, etc. We have some Star Trek themed up here. One of these is Captain Kirk and the other one is the USS Enterprise, and I'm not sure which one is which anymore. We planted them so long ago. And there's another one we just saw called Dr. Spock, and I think we're going to get that and plant it right in this little gap right here. And this will be our little Star Trek area. Little garden geekdom there. So this garden is sort of a mesh between haven't got there yet and filling in nicely. This little particular bed right here is always fun to look at. If you get in there and look close, you see all these little micro hostas and little fern that my wife finds and plants. We got this little micro hosta here. And we have so many different kinds of ferns. I'm not even going to pretend I can name them all or even remember what they all are. We have another little area right here where we have some micro hosta and fern growing. See, these are hostas, these are hostas. And we're actually already starting to get babies from these micro hostas, which is pretty cool. So we can start propagating those and planting them around. So that's about it for this bed. Someday maybe we're going to work it down so that it incorporates that area as well. And then that's just my fire barrel, and that's our potting bench where we make cuttings and transplants and all that sort of stuff. Not a lot going on out front. We don't do much on the front porch. We eat dinner out there occasionally, and there's one little planter out there, but it doesn't get much sun, so we're not going to bother walking through there. And here's another hydrangea that normally looks beautiful, but we're getting it in midday sun and it's wilting. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It doesn't even need to be watered. As soon as the sun's off of it, it'll stand right back up and it'll look fine. So that's about it, everybody. We're back to where we started, more or less. Thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoyed. Now you can see what I mean about the yard being much more colorful this time of year. And again, if anybody's interested, I'll keep doing these yard tours, and we can do them every few weeks and watch the seasonal changes, and you will be absolutely stunned between what this yard looks like in midsummer, where we are now in the middle of July, and midwinter. You wouldn't know it was the same yard if you didn't pay close attention to the actual structure of the yard. So thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you're subscribed, that way you won't miss any more of the videos I've got coming up as I continue this yard tour series, and then all my other outdoor videos, as well as all my fish videos. So thanks again. I'll see you real soon in the next one.